It's fine.
Action बोलना होता है.
What is a mandap called? What can you call it?
After going to Kiradu temple.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The purpose of this visit is to give student experience about the past, whatever the structure in the Kiradu is the 11th century structure of a temple.
So we began from T.I. Bebas. It was desert on both the sides, as we went slowly seeing the transition from modern culture to ancient temple architecture. As soon as we entered, we were overwhelmed with the beauty of the temple. So we finally welcome you to the world of Khajuraho of Rajasthan, the Kiradu group of temples, where there are n number of temple remains.
When you walk inside, it's something so surreal and incredible. It's like you're in a movie or something. It's like a very insane and hard to explain thing. Like the photos even don't do it justice, but it's temple ruins and in the most gorgeous way you can imagine. And you're these old crumbling temples where the most delicate, most incredible sculptures in every little part of the temple. Like every little part of the temple is covered in artwork and sculptures, each of it kind of expressing the master craftsmanship of the people who made it, but also like the religious devotion with which they made it.
It is always an ineffable experience to contemplate the art and architecture of pre-modern societies. Across civilizations and faith traditions, there are astonishing works, artistic works by amazing creative people of each societies. Traditionally, civilization speaking, human beings are known to be the people of gravity. In Greek, it is human beings are attributed as people of gravitas. In Arab tradition, they are known as people of thaqal, the weighty people. So the meaning of weighty and gravitas is something which is apparent while we are delving into the amazing, profound celebrations of art and architecture of pre-modern societies, which are testaments to their faith, their art, their precision, and of course their wonderful hard work. So Kiradu group of temples is an illustrative example of the art and architecture of the pre-modern societies in that sense. So the scripture, the work they have done is really, astonishing, and something, gives a deep sense of the spirit of pre-modern societies in terms of the art and architecture.
टेम्पल पर बहुत सारे स्कल्पचर्स ऐसे हैं जो कामसूत्रा के बारे में बात दिखाते हैं, तो इससे ये अनुमान लगा सकते हैं कि 11वीं सदी में लोग इसके बारे में बहुत ज्यादा फैमिलियर थे. वो हिचकिचाते नहीं थे कि कामसूत्रा के बारे में बोलने में, दिखाने में. लेकिन आज 21वीं सदी में भी ऐसे बहुत सारे स्कूल्स हैं जहाँ जो रिप्रोडक्शन सिस्टम का चैप्टर है उसे स्किप किया जाता है. वहाँ स्कल्पचर में दिखाया गया है कि लेस्बियन हैं, गे हैं, उनके बारे में भी बात की गई है. लेकिन आज के दुनिया में हम लेस्बियन और गे इनके बारे में बात करने के लिए बहुत हिचकिचाते हैं.
It is significantly visible that the temples of Kiradu not only represents the art and architecture of the ancient times, but also signifies the importance of sex education through its architecture.
Kings in that time, they used to make monuments, build big temples and buildings to show the glory of their kingdom, to show their devotion towards the gods and goddesses. And as we come to the Kiradu temple, there are so many stories around the Kiradu temple. Like the king has built in 6th AD some 108 temples, in which due to vandalism only 5 survive.
Presently, the remnants of 5 Shaiva Vaishnava temples of Marugurja style of architecture are in existence. The Someshwara temple is a unique example of Marugurja style of architecture, and it has Garbhagriha, the sanctum sanctorum, Antaral, Mahamandap, Dwaramandap, which is decorated with sculpture and artistic motifs.
Looking at these temples, I marveled at the detail in which things were made, from the sculptures and the stories that all of these details were telling us. And to be very frank, it felt like a society that was far more open than the society that I'm part of.
In these architectures, we have to see how women's bodies are depicted in these architectures, or the clothes that they're wearing, which we see that those are revealing clothes, which is kind of an indication of probably the liberty that women had in wearing their clothes. They did not have any kind of restrictions. You look at all these aspects, where do you see the position of the women in society? And then you sit and compare it with what is the position of women in the society right now. So if there is a comparison made right now, today also, even in this time and age, even after 1,000 years of the society having evolved, women's bodies are still sexualized in the same manner. So there is a lot that we can learn from history.
So in these temple complexes, we see that most of the temples are dedicated to male Hindu gods, and then the question arises, what about the Hindu goddesses? They do appear in these sculptures, in fact a lot of them, but most of them are seen as consorts to these gods or as dancing women. So one can interpret this as the society seeing women as an extension of a man and not an individual on her own. There is so much scope for interpretation in these temples, because these temples are carved out in such exquisite manner that be it religion, be it the society, be it folklores, there is a lot of stories that are being represented in the art. The Kiradu group of temples in Parmar are truly an example of how rich the Indian architectural styles are.
Apart from adding glory to the temple, the sculptures also convey the oral tradition we had in the past. So that we can see on the sculptures, we can see the stories from Mahabharata, the stories from Ramayana. You can see the monkeys carrying stones to build the Ram Setu. You can see Bhishma Pitama laying on the bed of arrows in the sculptures. So these temples become not only the mode of praying God, not only the mode of worshipping there, but they also conveys the stories to which the common people doesn't have access.
Temple from them is a Vishnu temple which is completely destroyed, and there was one Mahamandapa which seems like destroyed also. Specifically, the sculpture of that temple was really interesting, but along with, if you see very critically, then we can found that the specifically woman's legs, breast and the other parts are really damaged. And
Kirad was a prosperous town during 11th and 12th century. The Parmar and Chauhan rules of Kiradu were under the reign of Solanki dynasty of Gujarat. The town got ruined due to the foreign invasions. Many magnificent temples were built during 11th century and are still testimony of the ancient glory. The Vishnu temple is a partially destroyed one. Only the Mahamandapa and broken walls of Sanctum Sanctorum survive. The Mahamandapa seems like a performing stage of rituals or dances, because there is an arrangement to sit around the dais. Also, the pillars are well decorated, mostly containing the glorified female sculptures.
Many people around the temple claim that it is haunted place, but we need to think about it. Is it really haunted, or there is some myth is behind this temple? There is one myth that one saint came to that architecture and they gave one curse to that temple. So I was talking with the many people and they said that देखना है तो देखो, कुछ अवशेष बचे हैं, but रात तक मत रुकना. So I was curious about that story, and I found I feel that there is one narrative behind it, that they want to safeguard that the temple, so that they may be possible that these stories are behind that conserving mechanism.
In the heart of Rajasthan, the Kiradu temples weave a timeless narrative of love and spirituality through intricately carved sculptures, leaving an indelible mark that transcends ages.
So this type of field trip should be the important part of social science curriculum, and it gives a student exposure to engage with the history, and also it make the aware about their culture as well as the people who are thinking about this type of structure. They can also find out which type of story they believe, which type of practices or belief system in that time prevailing in their society. The second thing is the most important. Whenever we see some historical place, we have to feel it and think about the whole human journey and what are the continuity which prevail in our society and today's tradition, and where these traditions